Welcome back to NOS Live. I'm so glad that you hadn't forgotten that it is Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time in this part of the universe, which is most definitely not central, but it is for us. I'm David Redekop, just here to introduce the beginning of the show. Normally you see Will Stevens, the very capable host, but he's unfortunately suffering from laryngitis and he didn't think he could whisper loud enough. So I'm here just to say hello and basically help with the technology production aspect of it. And I'm going to hand it over to this incredible panel. You guys take it away.
All right. Well, welcome all. I'm Charlie. And one thing that we should let you know right off the bat, there is no prize tonight. Apparently, we don't have a sponsor. And so David couldn't, none of us could handle the actual prize draw process well. So that's the real reason. But I'm very fortunate to be surrounded here by some of the true talent inside our organization. And they're all women. And one of our pursuits over the next 5 to 10 years is in this little enterprise of ours to work towards being a 50.1% female organization. So women in tech is a powerful concept. Women in any field, it's a powerful concept. But we're going to become, in the very best manner we can, purposed in our pursuit of filling out our ranks with some female talent. It exists, it's out there. We just have to find a way to get noticed, then to attract close to us, and then to engage, hopefully for a lifetime, with that talent. So I'm now going to step out of the way and let the real talent take over here. Elyse.
I'll take this first step. Thank you. Thank you, Charlie. Hello, everyone. I am a recurring visitor on this wonderful NOS Live Wednesday evenings. So you may remember me. My name's Elyse Regan. I'm typically from the Vancouver area. But I am luckily, or lucky me, I'm down in Central America at the moment, spending time with some wonderful family and friends. So that's where I'm at right now, and it's really a lot to do with the wonderful organization that and my team members that I work with. So that's me.
My name is Leanne. I am I've been with Nerds on Site for over 3 years, and this is actually my second chair sit being on the panel, and I'm, as always, excited. I always look forward to being a part of the Wednesday evening panel discussions. And my role with Nerds on Site is sales, and more sales. So I guess, as Charlie calls him, an orchestrator of everything. I'm an orchestrator of sales solutions with our phone vertical, Fibernetics, and Canadian Tire, and helping nerds all across the country with any of their sales solutions that they need help with. So that's who I am, and I'm happy to be here.
Wow, we're like buddies. This is my second time too. I didn't realize.
That's right, Charlie, and that's right. We were the Valentine's Day. Remember that? Yeah, the panel.
I love that show. Yeah. Diba, how about you, kiddo?
Hi, everyone. My name is Diba, and I work on the administration team with Nerds on Site. This is also my second appearance on the show, and I'm really glad to be here with this amazing group of people.
Diba is our Chief Financial Administrator for Nerds on Site Global, and she heads up our entire administration team as well. So we're very blessed with that unbelievably calming and very, I'm going to call it pervasive knowledge base. She knows everything about, or has within her reach, everything about our entire organization across 5 continents. She's just she's a real talent. We're very blessed, very fortunate.
Thank you.
Not at all, not at all.
Wonderful. So since we aren't doing the Are You Smarter Than a Nerd in Fifth Grade. I do just want to tell you a little bit about myself and why I find NOS Nerds on Site to be such a wonderful organization. And, you know, to encourage anyone out there who's interested to go visit iwantobeanerd.com. Really neat website, some cool videos that you can check out. And I'll just, you know, say that one of the you know, key things that I do love about this job, not only the team members that I work with, but I am in business for myself. I do manage my own schedule. You know, given that given client schedule, of course, because I do deal a lot with clients as a project manager. But that is one wonderful aspect about being a nerd, is that I can manage my own time, deal with, you know, personal issues if they do come up, but then put in more time with my clients and my team members at a later date if I need to do so. So yeah, I'd encourage you to check out iwantobeanerd.com and explore a little.
And just to piggyback on what Elyse said, and you know, one of the initiatives too that we've just started with Nerds on Site is we have what is called WIT, which is Women in Technology, and it's a group of us women here at Nerds on Site. And our focus is one of support and one of sharing, and we do get together every 2 weeks, and it's similar to this. It's a panel discussion, and we determine prior to our meeting what, you know, the topic of the day or the meeting is going to be, and it's also about education and sharing best practices and just being, you know, support in, you know, what has really been for many years a male dominated industry. And coming from the corporate aspect of the technology world, where I spent many years, and coming to Nerds on Site, what I can say as a woman in technology, and very similar to, you know, why Elyse loves Nerds on Site, is definitely the flexibility. And, you know, I said to a friend of mine, and she completely understood this, was, you know, I have, you know, the flexibility of working from home. I do travel at times, but working from home and making my own schedule and working as early as I want, as late as I want. And I can tell you, you know, being very micromanaged in the corporate world, I've had it, and very successful. I think I've had greater success with Nerds on Site simply because of the fact that, you know, there's a freedom in the flexibility and the support that I receive from the leadership team. And as I explained to a friend of mine the other night, that, you know, there's, you know, I feel, you know, I have power in my Lululemon track pants because I can sit here all day, and that's the flexibility and the beauty of what we do, is that it's, you know, there is power in that, and that's really important. I can tell you as a woman, you know, I'm more than just, you know, a salesperson. I'm a mom. I'm running my own business like Elyse, and I've got a lot of things going on in my life. And I can tell you that the secret to my success is simply I have, you know, fallen in love with the Nerds on Site business model. It's really worked for me. And I can tell you as a woman, when I tell my other women friends what I do, a lot of them are extremely envious because of really the flexibility and the support that I receive at Nerds on Site.
Elyse runs our software as a service division globally. And Leanne is, she calls sales and more sales. She's more than that.
She's
When
super
she is. And when she talks about sales, when she talks about client relationship dynamic, all that kind of, we sit and listen. We know that the talent we have surrounding us, specifically female talent, they have another angle, another element, another complete array of buckets to dip into when it comes to client interaction, the understanding, the hearing, the response mechanisms, all the things that at times can seem to be a challenge for nerds in general, but specifically male nerds. We don't have that same issue when it comes to female talent, and we're very fortunate to be led by the actions and learn from the interactions by the female lead team members. I mean, John, David, and I, who own and run Nerds, we have no idea how we get along without Diba, and we have great talent on our administration team. We have no idea how we get along without Diba.
No, and I can add to what the others have said too, with being a veteran of Nerds On Site, because I've been with the company for 13 years.
Already.
Yes, yes, 13 years. And I mean, for me, I've grown considerably in that space of time. And, it doesn't sound like a lot, but from where I started with Nerds On Site and where I am now, I mean, there is considerable growth. And I mean, we've had, a lot of different team members, and we have had men on our administration team. They come and go. I don't know if it's because we're all female and, they're not comfortable with that all female atmosphere, but we try and keep them, engaged as much as we can.
John,
But
David, and Charlie are very comfortable. We're fine and dandy.
yes, but it's been for me a really growing experience, and I cannot thank these guys enough, John, David, and Charlie, for giving me that opportunity to be where I am today.
Everything was earned, and everything isn't. I mean, Leanne is moving up the ranks, not because from the beginning I was a believer, because we've attempted on the sales front a number of times before. Diba certainly knows this, and have failed. You are the one who's made the model work. And
Oh,
it
thanks,
is
Charlie.
because there's more of a global perspective on the thought front, and most importantly, the action front, that it's different
Yeah.
than we've had before.
It could be, my corporate experience. But the thing that I loved about Nerds On Site was I believe in timing, and everything is about the right time. And Nerds On Site came into my life at the right time. I mean, I was in the corporate world for many, many years, and I was looking for a change, and I was looking really for freedom, because after a while, when you're micromanaged for years and years, there's you kind of, you start to feel a little heavy, and I couldn't get as creative as I wanted to. I wasn't learning what I wanted to. And this is one thing, when Diba talks about education, I completely, when she said that, I was like, yes, because I have learned so much in the 3 years that I've been with Nerds On Site, that, the computer company that I worked previous, like for 15 years, I could easily go in there and work in their network department with no trouble. And that's the truth, so
You
this
could
is
run
things
it.
too that I could, what, I could run it. But the point is that, even from a woman that wants to get into technology and to be with a company that supports, all genders and all, the uniqueness that we have and that we all bring, we all do. Everybody brings something, great and wonderful to the table. That to me is a real reason, for my success, is because, I do better when I'm left alone to be creative than when I'm constantly, being micromanaged 24/7, because it's also personality too. And I think that that's a big, it's an entrepreneurial type of mindset as well. So I think it's just perfect timing, and it's life experience, and it just, yeah, it works. It works. And I'm happy. And I think my happiness shows in my daily performance, because part of my work is my purpose. So it's nice to have a purpose that I want to get out of bed in the morning for.
Yeah, my title is CEO, and that stands for Capability Expansion Orchestrator. And right next to me here, Leanne is a CEO, and then on her side, Elyse is a CEO, and Diba is a CEO. Every one of us on our team, we were very flat, but our job is to help each other, quite literally, orchestrate our capabilities to better end, to better result, to find a way collaboratively. I mean, even though you're working for yourself and you're running your own business, you're not alone. Right? Yeah. Others are around, but it does make a difference when you are, at the end of it, know that as you close the book on whatever your business day was, you were the one who made the choices, the decisions. And if you were happy with them, excellent. If you weren't, pick up a phone or Slack a message, find out, okay, why did this not go right?
Yeah, there's a lot of support, and that's one thing too. If I know, if I reach out to Elyse, I can depend on Elyse to get back to me. If I need to talk to Diba about something financial or invoice or her or whatever team, it's amazing. Like the support that I receive to able to run my business, and it's twofold. Yes, I have my own business, but it's for the greater global good of Nerds on Site. So it's more than just running your own business. It's being part of something that's bigger than you are, and that to me is really important.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm on the outside looking in when it comes to women in technology. What can be done to help women feel more comfortable about getting into this space? I mean, that educationally, it seems like many start down the road in technology, but over time, it doesn't seem like it fleshes out. It doesn't lead to the same graduation rate or the same completion rate or whatever. And as we all know, it's a challenge right now to attract and engage female talent in this industry specifically.
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's everyone out there is unfortunately the graduation rate has increased significantly for women in tech, and I'd say just a generation following myself, I believe they were almost 50-50 in computer science. So it's getting up there, but unfortunately the onboarding and it's possible that organizations who are trying to bring on women in tech are not necessarily doing it in the way that attracts women of a certain age range or of a certain group. I know a lot of companies out there are struggling with this, and I have to say that there are certain key factors that I've looked for in order to get my business going, in order to work with team members, in order to even bring on team members that I'm dealing with or that I'd like to work with. And I have to say that in working with, I do specifically seek out women, female designers, developers, just due to it takes a little bit of digging, but a very direct approach. But it is possible. But it's a good question, and it's one that I know that the industry struggles with right now. But I think I hate to say it, but perhaps a softer approach to attracting women in technology. The fact that the flexibility is there, the growth, the education. Growth and education are key points for myself as well, and I know for a lot of women I know out there. So I mean, that's one aspect that really that I've been able to thrive in Nerds on Site. What do you think, Leanne?
I agree. I think it's exactly what Elyse said. And, even before you said education, I'm like, education and the flexibility and the freedom and all of that, I think are very important to women, because I think the reality is that, being a business woman person, career person is, that's one component of my day. So what I like about, and I think maybe I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak for, people that I know, that, flexibility is key. And I remember the days where, you would just, it's such a big deal if you could work from home for just one day. And it wasn't because, you wanted to spend half your day, trust me, doing laundry. It was just that wasn't the point. And I understand where, years ago employees, I thought, well, what are you doing at home? Are you really working? And what's really interesting is they've done so many studies on this, so that people are more productive when they work from home. And it's just being here and not having to spend 2 hours in traffic, or standing on the subway platform amongst hundreds of other people, and you got to wait for the third or fourth train. I mean, these things are very important parts. And if you have kids, that you can be here when they come home from school and get them settled and still continue on your day. I mean, those are just some small things, but I think they're reality and they're real, and I think that's a really important part of reaching out to women. So it's everything that Elyse said, like flexibility and being able to manage your time better. And education is hugely important, especially in technology. And like I said, I've had, in all of my years in corporate tech, I have learned more in 3 years with Nerds on Site than I have 20 years somewhere else. So that's saying something in terms of the education that one can gain working for this organization.
I think too, part of it is having other female mentors to help encourage, to push, I mean, working from home is great because it's a relaxed atmosphere. But as far as technology goes, like for instance, as a nerd, nerds go to customers' homes to do their repairs and that kind of thing. A lot of times another female tech would probably like to shadow with a female tech, and get their ideas
That's a good
on,
point.
how their workflow is compared to the male aspect of that side of things.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, Diva, for sure.
Yeah,
And I
very
do
much
think
so.
that. I think that's part of, the reason why we have the women in technology, our WIT group, is the fact that, there's support in numbers, but there's also women on that, within that team that, are mentoring. And I think, every 2 weeks when we get together, we're all mentoring one another. And that's, so I think the support system, to have that in place is really important as well. So you don't feel overwhelmed and you don't feel alone, and you work with other women that can understand some of the day-to-day challenges that that some of us are up against, because that's life, and you've got to work through those challenges. So definitely a mentoring system, I think, is, like Deepa said, is really important.
Sorry, ladies, I just realized, because we're not administering this event, there may be some people out there watching who have sent in questions, comments, queries of one sort or
Sorry.
another. So we're very sorry. I hope that they're captured somehow and that we can, in fact, take advantage of your input. We really do appreciate the ideas you may have. I know I enjoy working with everybody, but to be honest, the ask to a woman is different than the ask to a man. And Elyse, you made comment that we have to soften or find a different way to let everybody out there know. I mean, anybody can become a nerd. You don't need to be a tech, obviously, right? It's technology today, and most of it can be handled remotely. And we've got all kinds of team members who are set up just to do those sorts of things. So it's the relationship dynamic that's becoming more and more and more important. Understanding business process and getting a feel for how different kinds of companies in different silos work, what their business is all about, and how they produce a product and a profit on a regular basis. Getting a feel for the questions that can be asked and interpreting the answers to help business owners see how they can, in fact, use technology to leverage their business process and their business results day by day. And sometimes some gentlemen have a challenge listening to what's actually being said. They're listening with the answer in mind. As soon as something pops up, it's verbalized a certain way. Oh, we got something for that. And so they start thinking about the solution they could provide. It's hard to be silent and listen to what's actually being intended, not just said, but truly intended. And in my experience, women have a knack that is different from the average guy at hearing the true intent of a message and we call them cries for help, because most people are looking for better, faster, less expensive ways to do what they do. And that talent can be buffeted, it can be built up, surrounded by the tech. So the real issue isn't, do I know things about networks or do I know things about boxes, computers, all that? No, that's not necessary. That's not needed. The real talent is your ability to deal with other human beings in a manner that they feel good about and, in fact, enjoy. So the next time you interface, they're feeling good about that opportunity, right? There's our boss.
Very much so. I on that
Agreed.
note, I hate to to interrupt here, David. I have been checking on the chat, but I realize we haven't even gotten. We're running about 4 minutes.
We have
to
4
close,
minutes
and we
left.
haven't even gotten to our headline.
So much to talk about.
So lots to talk about, and I mean, hopefully we can get to this headline perhaps next week. We'll save it as a bit of a secret. But I will say, from my end anyway, very interesting and a little controversial. So stay tuned for next week. Well, I mean,
Leanne will
have
Leanne, Diva.
Note,
I will be here for that one.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm prepared for that. I am very prepared for that. I have, yes. My response and my thought on that may surprise y'all. So.
Ooh. David, I'm not sure we can hear you, bud.
You know, I'm doing the John Harbarenko thing. I have an easy to use mute button, and then I also mute on the screen, and then I forget that I'm muted in both places. So I'm sorry about that. I said, really, Elyse, you're gonna make us wait a week?
She's good, isn't she? She's
Yes,
good.
she is.
All right.
Whetted my appetite.
All right. So we're figuring this whole technology thing out with broadcasting live on YouTube Live using Zoom webinar this time. So one of the things I want to just apologize to the audience for is I was actually supposed to have all the panelists run the YouTube live chat as well at the same time so that you could respond. So you guys in the chat room looking at them, not looking at you, it's my fault.
Sorry.
I think there's a song, right? Looking at you.
We're not ignoring you,
looking
we
at
promise.
them, looking
promise.
at you.
We even have some crazy South Africans that are up at this crazy hour. What is it?
Oh my gosh.
30 in the
you
morning.
Guys.
There's one of the best looking models right there. His name is Francois Castellan.
We call him Hollywood Francois nowadays.
That's right, Hollywood Francois. There you go.
All righty. Well, I am supposed to wrap up with a tip of the week, and I can probably do it in about 30 seconds if I could. Data in Canada, expensive, and this is for our Canadian viewers. As I'm roaming, I've just found out a really neat trick to ensure that only my key apps use data.
Oh.
So if you do have an iPhone, I apologize, I don't have the Android directions. But if you do use an iPhone, just jump into your settings under cellular, and in that menu, you'll be able to turn off data for all those apps that you don't want to be using your 3G or LTE.
Awesome. Thanks, Elyse. That's a really good
Very
tip.
helpful.
Wow. Yes.
Best tip yet. My
Every penny leads to $1. Every single penny leads to $1. They just need a lot of friends. That's all.
In that
Come
case,
to make bread.
I'm gonna pull in Elyse then too. Wait till next week when I share mine.
Oh,
looking forward to
it.
Could hardly wait.
Wonderful.
One of the comments from Brian Bell that some of you know, he says, nerds can offer security options to make the ladies feel secure about visiting.
Thanks, Brian. Always have our backs.
Such a good guy.
Thanks, Brian.
Jim Humphrey says, they talked about experiments that were done with rats to see how they react to stress, and which came up with the fight or flight response to stress. Those experiments were conducted by male scientists and used male rats. So when a woman decided to repeat those same experiments, with female scientists and female rats, they observed the tend and befriend response. So women
Wow.
have a different way of coping.
Interesting.
Always
Thanks,
count
Jim.
on Jim for good insight.
Mm-hmm. That's really good.
What a
Thanks, Jim.
treasure trove.
Thanks,
My
Jim.
God.
That is, yeah, that's awesome.
So I wasn't going to jump back on the panel because it was supposed to be women in tech today, but I did only because I wanted to share some of these good comments. So.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's
Hey,
okay, David. You're still outnumbered 3 against 2, so it's good. Still women in tech.
Awesome.
Told you she was supercharged.
We rule. We rule. And they do. Women
do.
run the world.
Yes,
And
we do.
Let guys play their little games, but women rule. No question. No question. Well, I don't know. Is 8:30 our wrap-up time?
It is. It's 8:31.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate being allowed to join today.
Yes,
and,
thank
look
you.
forward- Now,
Thank
now
you.
I can't wait till next week.
See you soon.
I can't wait.
See you soon. You like this? Woo.
Thanks, everybody. Tune in again next
Bye. Have a great
same
week.
time. 8
Safe travels,
p.m.
Elyse.
Eastern.
Bye.
Yes. Yeah.
Bye for now. Bye-bye.
Thanks for
everybody.
joining.